What if I told you there's a way to peek into the future of India's biggest companies? Well, today, we're diving into an index that might just be the closest thing we have to a crystal ball, showing us which companies are lining up to be the champions of tomorrow. Okay, when I say Indian stock market, what's the first thing you think of? For most people, it's the Nifty 50. Those are the titans, right? The established champions. But who's waiting in the wings? Which companies are right on the edge of greatness, just waiting for their shot at the big league? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore. To find those future champions, you have to look just a little bit beyond the giants currently sitting at the top. Yeah, the Nifty 50. It's the benchmark, the gold standard. It's basically a who's who of the 50 largest and most traded companies in India. When you hear on the news that the market is up, chances are they're talking about this index. But here's the interesting part. Right outside that very exclusive club, there's another group of 50 really powerful companies. And, these aren't small-time players. They are serious contenders, all battling it out to break into that top tier. So, let's meet them. Who are these guys? Well, they're known as the Nifty Next 50, and they're pretty much India's rising stars. The way it works is, well, it's actually super simple. Just picture this. You line up the top 100 companies in India by size and how easily they're traded. The first 50, that's your Nifty 50. And the next 50 in that line, from number 51 to 100, boom, that's the Nifty Next 50. It's literally the next rung on the ladder. And what's really fascinating is that these two indexes, they're kind of like twins. They were launched on the exact same day way back in 1995, and they both started with the exact same base value of 1,000. So they're really two sides of the same coin. And together, they give us the full picture of India's top 100 companies. And don't for a second think these are small fry companies. The NIFT Next 50 accounts for about 10% of the entire free float market capitalization on the National Stock Exchange. That is a huge slice of the economic pie. Okay, so this sets up a classic showdown, doesn't it? You've got the reigning champs on one side and the ambitious challengers on the other. So let me ask you, just think about it for a second. On one hand, you have the stable, established blue-chip giants of the Nifty 50. On the other, you have the hungry, dynamic, high-growth potential companies of the Next 50. Who do you think would come out on top over the long run? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. Because since day one, it's been the challenger, the Nifty Next 50, that's delivered the better returns. Yeah, you heard that right. The up-and-comers have consistently beaten the champions. So you gotta ask, how is that even possible? How does the so-called junior index manage to beat the senior one? Well, the secret isn't some kind of magic. It's actually baked right into how the index is designed. So let's break it down. It starts simply enough. Take the top 100 companies, kick out the Nifty 50, and you're left with companies ranked 51 to 100. But here's where it gets clever. The index has these caps. It limits the weight of certain stocks. This is a smart move because it stops a few super volatile stocks from completely taking over, which gives you a much more balanced portfolio of these emerging leaders. Okay, so who are these companies of tomorrow we keep talking about? Let's actually peek inside the index and see what's really driving this incredible performance. Looking at the Nifty Next 50 is kind of like getting a sneak peek of the future of the Indian economy. It's not just dominated by one or two big industries. Instead, you get this broad, really dynamic snapshot of where all the growth is happening. I mean, just look at the sector breakdown. It's incredibly diverse. You've got your financial services, sure, but also capital goods and power, tons of consumer-focused businesses, oil, gas and materials, healthcare, IT. It's a real cross-section of the entire economy, not just a couple of hot sectors. And I guarantee you'll recognize a bunch of these names. We're talking about companies you probably interact with all the time. Indigo, the airline you fly. D-Mart, the superstore you shop at. Swiggy, the app that brings dinner to your door. And of course, it's also packed with industrial powerhouses like Indian Oil and Vedanta. These are the brands shaping modern India. Really, the best way to think about this whole thing is like a feeder league for the big leagues. Or maybe a graduating class. The absolute best performers here are the ones who are most likely to get that call up, to get promoted into the main Nifty 50 when the index gets rebalanced. So look, if you take away just one thing from all this, let it be this. Calling the Nifty Next 50 a runner-up index, that completely misses the point. What it really is the ultimate watch list. It's a vital barometer for the next generation of large cap companies, a sneak peek at the future direction of the entire Indian economy. And that leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to end on. Given its incredible track record and its role as this incubator for future champions, maybe the real question isn't just who's next, but what's next for India's economy. And maybe, just maybe, the Nifty Next 50 is the closest thing we have to a crystal ball to find that answer.